What is up, you guys? Glitchiz here, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to bring you a video going over all the important information you need to know from the day one Way of Winter servers. As I suspected, a lot of things were changed and ended up being a little bit different than what we had access to on the test server. So I wanted to give you all the actual real information that they have available to us, as well as show you some of the amazing quality of life updates that they added. But before we get into that, I have to give a big shout out to the sponsor of today's video, and that is Instant Gaming. For those of you that don't know, Instant Gaming is a killer website where you can save a ton of money on your digital game purchases. How it works is they get all of their CD keys straight from the source, so you never have to worry about the CD keys being a scam or not working. They have a near flawless rating with Trustpilot, but on top of having some of your favorite games across all major platforms for really cheap prices, they also sell discounted codes for your favorite in-game currencies like V-Bucks and currencies for your favorite in-game wallets like the Steam wallet, for example. They also sell subscription cards to your favorite monthly MMOs like World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy as well. So if you want to save a bunch of money on your future game purchases, I recommend checking the first link down in the description and going to check them out and start saving money. We also are teaming up to do a special giveaway every month that I'm partnered with Instant Gaming, and one lucky winner at the end of each month will be chosen and be able to pick a game of your choosing from the website. And all you have to do to enter for that is click the second link down in the description and just click one button. You have the option to select a few more after that to just increase your chances of winning, but that's totally up to you. So big incentive for you guys to go and check it out. So thanks again, Instant Gaming, for sponsoring the video. But without any further ado, let's jump into it. So the Way of Winter is finally here. And like I suspected, a ton of things ended up changing from the test server. So I wanted to go over all those core details and share it with you so you guys know what is up. And also show some, like I mentioned before, quality of life updates that I noticed that are really, really cool. So the first thing that I think I can go over is the memetics, and this is a big one. In the memetics cradle, I know in my build video for like the best base design as well as my ultimate survival guide, I mentioned what certain memetics were going to be available in phase 1. Those were slightly changed. The biggest and most important one that I want to point out is the temperature control. So right out the gate, we obviously have the campfire. However, we have all the way up to the third basically section available right out of the gate, which means we can unlock the vintage stove right in phase 1. So you can go ahead and build my ultimate Way of Winter base right from the get-go, and as long as you grind maybe 1 to 2 hours to get the specs and memetics you would need to get that far down the tree, you could potentially go ahead and build that whole base right away. So really cool update there, and there's a lot more memetics available to us right out the gate than I was originally anticipating. So everything memetics wise up to the third tier across every single category is going to be ready to unlock. So that's the first cool update I wanted to go over. The next really cool update that I wanted to go over, which I didn't show off in any of my videos because it was also bugged out, is the Memetics Cradle. This is a list of all the perks. It's going to be based off your level again, not the silos that you unlock. But here is the ones that we're going to have available to us. I don't have all of them unlocked, but you can still hover over them, so I'll go one by one. So we have anti-regen, anti-void, and anti-phase. Actually, before we do this, I should probably show off the scenario stuff because that also changed. And that will kind of lead into the memetic specialization. So if we go to the seasonal banner, we only have these phases here, but this information obviously changed a little bit as well. First phase is actually the same, but on the second phase, the same Wish Machine stuff unlocks, but you'll notice we have an event to kill the Chaos Weavers, which will drop a total of 4,000 Starchrome. There's going to be a ton of Starchrome up for grabs on this scenario, so get excited. We got 4,000 potential event Starchrome that we can grab here. In the third chapter, we've got another 4,000 Starchrome from killing Chaos Weavers available. And then in the fourth and final one, we have another 4,000 available to us. So crazy, crazy loots for Starchrome, juicy, juicy Starchrome. If you're missing out on any of those legendary memetics from the Wish Machine, this season is going to be the season to get it, because we're going to have a ton of leftovers, not only just from the events, but you're going to be getting the 4K potentially from every territory purification as well. So tons of Starchrome up for grabs. Moving on to the seasonal goals, these were changed a little bit. Obviously, we had the placeholder icon at the end of the seasonal goals in the test server, but now we can actually see that they are, in fact, the Snowy Realm and the Way of Winter avatar frames, plus tons of Starchrome here. We got 5,000 Starchrome from the final phase. We've got a bunch of Starchrome from the third phase, plus our Butterfly Emissary badge. Bunch of Starchrome in the second phase, and mimetic points, as well as Starchrome and mimetic points and reset tokens in the first phase. If we go into them, only the first phase right now is unlocked, but these are the official seasonal challenges. So under territory, these are the ones we have. Feel free to pause and check it out. Under exploration, these are the ones we have for that. Then we have secure. And last but not least, we have challenges. And then while we're here, we can check out the seasonal shop because a lot of things have changed there. So as you can see, we have the Berserkosaurus Rex and Radiant One standees. You could technically buy them at the end of the Prismverse Clash scenario, but they will still be available this scenario, so that's pretty cool. I picked up the Shephosaurus one. However, we did get a brand new one called the Northern Thermal Tower. This is probably going to be a huge standee, but it looks really, really dope and animates. Has a bunch of smoke effects and stuff, so that'll be a cool one to hunt down. Really, really like that one. It actually goes from hot to cold, depending on which temperature you set it. Well, it just randomly cycles through, but the real thermal tower, you can switch to hot and cold, so it's cool that the animation kind of changes with that, which is kind of neat. Moving on, we've got some new name cards for the thermal tower. And then under other, we have the scenario exit card if you want to leave early. Moving on to Annual Season 1, we've got our normal Emissary Butterfly Crate, which has pretty much the same stuff that it did before. However, now we have the Prismverse Clash Loot Crate to get the Prismverse Clash Faction Armor. If you weren't fully able to get it at the end of your Prismverse season, this crate will still be available. And they also added one more, and that is the Prism Deviation Luck Box. And what this basically does is it's 5,000 Mitsuko marks, but by opening it, you're guaranteed a random choice, 50-50 chance between a Berserkosaurus Rex or a Radiant One. I know a lot of people were upset that the Radiant One and Berserkosaurus Rex weren't really available to a wide range of people in the PvP scenario, just because they were so rare and so hard to collect. So they added a new crate for 5,000 Mitsuko marks. You can potentially get one of those special variations. A buddy of mine did pick one up. It dropped at a 3.4 or a 3.5, I believe. So it was a decent mid-ground rating, but it really is just a shiny variation of the either Shephosaurus or the By the Wind deviant or deviation. They're just cooler looking, so feel free to snag those if you want. We also have the Starchrome crates. Unlike the Prismverse Clash, where it was just 4 crates, now we've got the full amount again, so that's pretty cool. And then last but not least, for the phase, this is pretty much going to stay the same. So all of those are still available if you so choose to pick them up. So that is the new seasonal shop. But then going into seasonal info, this is what you can and cannot bring over. Pretty straightforward. It's the same across all of it. Under seasonal features, here is the official list of deviations that are going to be available. We get the Butterfly's Emissary, Festering Gel, Frog the Leaper, Buzzy Bee, Fetch-a-Lot Bunny, Logging Beaver, Digby Boy, Lethal Rabbit, the Atomic Lighter, Strange Door, Polar Jelly, Upper World Spawn, Grow Shroom, Artisan's Touch, Pup Buddy, Orb Lightning, Flame Essence, Xeno Purifier, Snow Globe, Nutcracker, Mini Feaster, Paper Doll, and then going on to the new ones, which we have 7 total. We have the Tar Pudding, Snapshot, Hydronaut Fish, Invincible Sun, Snow Sprite, Ice Pot, and the Gazochio, which is the cool one that freezes. I know for a fact that the Snow Sprite and the Gazochio are both going to be quest deviations that you can get from low, so start doing those low quests, side quests, early as possible. I've already got the one for Gazochio from the main Bone Town already, so that one you can get pretty early on. And then for seasonal tags, this was obviously different. Instead of having the 2 that we had before. We have 3 potential variations that are going to be showing up on the harder difficulties. We've got Void, Regen, and Phase, and then the Wish Machine was the other big thing that I'll show off here in a second that was different. We've got the Wish Machine blueprint for the Pyroclasm starter, as well as a Wish Machine blueprint for the Fire Rune boots. Here's just the calibration blueprints that are going to be available from those anomaly enemies. So feel free to pick those up. Personally, I'm not a big fan of them, but they are available. And then last but not least, seasonal marks. Like I mentioned before, we should, if you did the PvP scenario, be able to get our 4th and final form of our emissary badge, which is pretty cool. And then moving on, the other big things that they changed, I think we can go over to the Memetic's Cradle now and go over those. So we have the first 3 being anti-regen, anti-void, and anti-phase for your different weapon types to help against those super anomalies. We've got deviant energy defense. Summoning or handling deviations grants a shield equal to 30% of max HP. While the shield is active, your weapon damage reduction and status damage reduction is also increased by 10%. Sky operation, jumping and glide speed plus 15%, and damage reduction plus 10% while jumping and gliding. Moving on to the next row, we got our standard tactical combo. We've got status enhancement, deviation master, lone walker, and side by side. Some of these were on the final phase of the previous scenario, so we're able to get these really early on in this scenario just by hitting level 15. Moving on to the third row, we've got deadly combo. That's a oldie but goodie. Sustained suppression, first round blast, an unstable bomber perk, and power surge. Steady hand for fortress warfare and fast gunner, and ammo cascade. After performing a successful backstab, execution, impact, or melee impact, your melee damage is increased by 30% and movement speed is increased by 10%. I think that might be a new one. Moving on, these are all pretty much new. We have Frost Sense. Every time you summon Frost Vortex, Ice Crystals, or Ice Spikes, your frost damage is increased by 3% for 8 seconds and can stack up to 12 times. So a pretty much guaranteed perk you're going to want to snag for Frost Vortex builds, or any Frost build in general. We have Heat Agglutination. That's going to be the burn one. For every stack of burn triggered, burn damage increased by plus 5% for 6 seconds, and that can stack up to 6 times. Tracking Bullet, dealing weak spot damage, grants plus 2.5%, shrapnel damage plus 3.5%, and shrapnel crit damage for 6 seconds up to 10 stacks. So this is what I'm noticing is they're pretty much giving a cool additional perk for almost every single weapon type this time around, which is really cool. Bounce Rampage, upon landing a bounce shot, bounce damage increased by 10% up to for 5 seconds, and that can stack 15 times. And then last but not least on this row, we have Series Detonation. After a unit takes damage from an unstable bomber, if the unit takes damage from a bomber within 3 seconds, the final damage is increased by 25%. And then for the last and final row, we have Fortress Link. This is going to be cool for Fortress Warfare builds. Fortress Warfare range is increased by 50% with an additional damage boost of plus 5%. After activating Fortress Warfare for 5 seconds, Fortress Warfare will appear again within 10 meters at a non-hostile target location or at your location if no additional targets are nearby. So you basically get a double Fortress Warfare. You activate it once, and then once the duration ends, it's going to randomly spawn nearby another big circle that you can go into. So you can kind of chain those Fortress Warfares back to back. So potentially really good. Then we have Overload. This will be for Power Surge. Upon dealing Power Surge damage, energy charges up to 10 stacks. Reloading removes all stacks, and each stack grants plus 2.5 Power Surge damage. The boost lasts until the next reload, and energy can be charged during that period. And then we have Bounty Hunter. This one's been around for a while. Hitting marked targets for Bullseye, for example, increases weapon damage by 5% for 8 seconds, up to 6 stacks. Fast Pursuit. If Fast Gunner status, or in Fast Gunner status, there's a chance to fire 1 extra bullet when firing. The higher the stacks, the greater the chance, and each stack adds 1% up to a max of 20% additional chance to get that double bullet hit, which is pretty cool. You get really fast ramp up time for your Fast Gunner weapons. And then last but not least, we have Tough Build. We've got stuff in here even for tank builds now. Defeating a target in melee restores 10% of lost HP and stamina, melee damage plus 25%, and it lasts for 15 seconds. So really, really cool Cradle perks this time around. definitely different than what we had on the test server, so I'm glad I didn't show that off. But it looks like they have a nice, well-rounded selection for every single weapon type this time around. So keep an eye out for some future build videos. I'm going to try and make a cool build for almost every single weapon type this go around. So keep an eye out for those. But that is the new Mimetic Cradle perks. Moving on to blueprints, there is a new weapon that I forgot to mention in my weapons and armor video. It's actually a blue weapon. I can't remember if it was on the test server or if it only showed up in this, but it's actually an assault rifle. You get this from one of the mysterious chests in town, and it is called the Scorched Earth. It is basically a blue burn weapon, which we haven't had before. The first one you used to be able to get was the crank for assault rifles, so you could potentially get this pretty early on if you want to use burn. 12% chance to trigger burn on hit, and you get 10% burn damage, so pretty cool for an early starter burn weapon. That was the one update for the weapons I wanted to mention. And then the other things that I wanted to point out is the wish machine. So we can go over here. These are the actual rolls that we'll be able to get. Obviously, in the beginning of phase 1, we only have the long-awaited and Echoes from the Rift available, but as those phases increase, more and more are going to unlock. So we have the Destructive Flames. This is going to have that Pyroclasm and Autumn Equinox. You can, I confirmed it, get the Autumn Equinox from a mysterious chest as well. I want to say it might be from the Carnival theme park one is where you get it, or one right after that. But it is definitely in a chest. But now we have a roll for it. I clicked the exclamation mark here. So we got the full blueprint, a portion blueprint, actually double portion blueprints, the Autumn Equinox, the Dual Fury, and then some additional chance for 10% fragments. Then we have the blue weapon prints. These are all the ones. I won't read them all off, but you can screenshot and check them out. But that's all the rare 10% blueprints for the blue drops that you can get across the board for that one. Then the next one we have is going to be for the new Flame Boots. It's called Flaming Rune. Got the Flame Runes as the main one, with a Lone Wolf set and Flame Boots as the secondary legendaries that you can get. We also can potentially get the Leather Boots, which are good for Fortress Warfare. And then here is a list of what you can get from the blue and purple options to potentially drop on this card. So go ahead and screenshot that if you'd like. Moving on, we have the Tranquil Frost. This definitely wasn't on the test server, but this is going to be for that new Silent Anabasis Frost Assault Rifle that I'm probably going to be rocking. Really fun weapon. Got the multiple counts of it to potentially get it up to 2 or 3 stars if you max it out for the weapon itself. But you can also get the Burning Rage Assault Rifle. Was it always called Burning Rage? I thought it was called Crank. Maybe they changed that. But we also have the Icy Rain, so you can get a little bit of both in this card for multiple percentage blueprints to increase it. And then here again are the blue potential options. So feel free to pause and check those out. And then last but not least, the final option is going to be for the new legendary snow gloves, the snow camo gloves. We go and click this. This one will have the chance to drop not just the gloves, but also several pieces for the Blackstone set, which is the new set as well, plus the main gloves drop there. You could also potentially get the Frost Tactical Vest. And then for the blue and purple drops, that is what we get here. We got the Snow Panther set. You get those from the mysterious chest as well. So feel free to pause and check those out. So that is the official updated wish machine. And the last thing that I wanted to cover for just the facilities and things like that, moving on to the quality of life stuff. On the topic of deviations, now that we know that the vintage stove is going to be available, one good one that you might want to get early on and maybe carry over from a previous server is a high level logging beaver, because if we're using that vintage stove for the wider range, having that passive wood to just throw in a ton of coal early on in the first scenario could be really beneficial to you. It's going to save time on a lot of farming, especially if you build your base up pretty large. So that would be one recommendation I would potentially quickly bring over. Another really cool feature that they added, which is a huge quality of life improvement, is actually your vehicles. So you would normally spawn in your vehicles with G, but if you notice now on the bottom of the screen, a new menu pops up where you can hit Q or E. You can confirm this on the previous server because some of these updates actually showed up on the previous server before you left. Anything that is craftable from your main garage, so the Jeep, the Coupe, and the motorcycle, basically those three vehicles, if you have one of each of those crafted, when you go to summon your vehicle, all three of those will show up in this list, so you can cycle between them on the fly and summon any vehicle that you want. You no longer have to go back to your base, switch the one that's active, and then go and start using the new vehicle. Now, as long as you've got it crafted, you can just select whatever vehicle you want on the fly for whatever particular scenario you're in and just spawn it in immediately. So that's really, really cool. The bigger hive truck and the pickup truck, because those have to be driven off the platform, those you can't just instantly spawn. So that's a little bit different, but the three main ones from your normal garage, those can all be swapped in and out on the fly, which is really, really handy. The other last thing that I wanted to point out that I noticed would have to bring us over to the main town in order to show it off. So let me head over there. And that is some updates to some of the key NPC vendors. So let's jump over there really quick. And this will probably be the last thing that I show off for the video. This is the new Whalebone town, pretty much. But the first one is going to be our good friend Severin. He's got some updated inventory options that are pretty good. So if you see here, we've got a bunch of new accessories to choose from that weren't previously available. We also have a home jukebox and a bartender's table, which are new. They weren't there before. But the big thing that's awesome that I wanted to point out is we now have a pro level build mod crate that you can buy with your Stellar Planulas. This will have a selection of every major gold mod that you can pick according to the damage type. And when you select that one and open it, it'll give you a basically random roll of about mid-tier level perks on that particular gold mod. So I know late game gold mods and farming for gold mods are one of the most important things that you're going to have to do. And some people just aren't really good at farming pro and hard mode level dungeons over and over again. So this is going to be a faster alternative option to at least start building up your kind of collection of mods early on. If some of them turn out to not be so good, you can still use the conversion tool to turn them into something potentially better. But we do have a seasonal limit of 20 crates that we can get on here. So that's really cool. And then the other cool thing that we have is armor mod parts and weapon mod parts. This is going to be really big in terms of late game when you're upgrading those pro mods. So not only can we get the mods themselves, but now he also sells the parts that are required to enhance them. And what's neat is the seasonal limit says 10 pulls, but each pull that you grab gives you 100 of each. So every single season, I'm assuming moving forward, you'll be able to buy straight up 1,000 of these armor parts or weapon parts just for a couple Stellar Planulas, which is really, really cool. So that is a big update there. We still got our controllers and Starcraft crates as well, so be sure to grab those at the beginning of a new season. But we got some updates there. The one actually that I didn't check is our friend over here, Nisa. But while we're here, we can go and check. I'm not sure if she has anything new. I don't think she does. Nope, just looks like she's got her normal point options, the bike skin, and then the old loot crate. So she's pretty much the same, but Severin definitely had some new really good options to choose from to spend our Stellar Planulas on. So yeah, that is some of the really cool new day one features and updates that are honestly a cool update that I wasn't expecting. It's actually better than what I anticipated. So I'm glad that some of these features were added. But yeah, if you guys found it informative, if it helped you out, be sure to smash that like button, comment down below. I appreciate all of your guys' feedback. Also, if you want to keep up to date with my future content, consider subscribing and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any of my future updates. And then last but not least, if you want to join a killer community of like-minded gamers, feel free to check the links down below the instant gaming links and join us on the Discord. We've got over 1,000 members in there now, many of which are playing oncehuman, and all of us are stoked for this new Way of Winter scenario. So hopefully you jump in and we see you guys around here soon. But until the next one, Hope everyone has a great day, and we'll see you all later.